Good morning, gang, and welcome to the new episode of In Love with the Process. My name is Mike Pecci. I am your host for the show, and I am doing this one from across the country out here in Los Angeles. I'm staying at this cute little hotel called the Petit Hermitage, I guess, is my shitty French for that, but really cool spot. I'm out here doing some pitch meetings for the new project that I haven't been able to tell you guys about. But it's been a pretty exciting week with some crazy ups and downs. And I cannot wait until these things get greenlit so that I can actually start talking about these stories that I've experienced. But I figured that I would pack up my podcast gear and bring it out here with me because I got some buddies out here on the West Coast that I haven't hung out with in a long time. And that leads me to my guest this morning, an old pal of mine, my buddy Brett McCabe. Say hello.
It's a really big get for you. I'm excited to be here.
Let's make sure that you're up. There you are. Okay.
Low voice.
Brett has been a friend of ours for quite some time. You started by PAing for us on music videos, yes?
Yes, indeed. And some commercial stuff, I think.
Yeah. And you worked with us on a Kill Switch video, right? Which one was that?
In Due Time.
Oh, right. The super cool We're All Friends in the Studio video.
I got to hit play and stop on the playback.
Brett's from Boston originally, and then you moved out here to LA how long ago?
4.5 years ago, I believe.
Mm-hmm. And you do stand-up these days, yes?
Yes. It's going well. And by well, I mean I am a delivery boy.
But that's kind of the deal out here in general. Like, everybody comes out here because they have that dream gig, but then, of course, rent costs a lot of money, so you have to be doing some sort of part-time job.
Yeah, so you move out here, and you get some big dreams, and then you sort of forget about them because you got to make money. And then you watch untalented people work harder than you and achieve some sort of success with that. And then you beat yourself up for it for years. And then your friends from Boston fly over, and they're more successful than you, even though they don't live here. So I'm doing great.
Well, okay. One of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show is that I've always been a big fan of everything that Brett does. We've worked together. We actually did a short film did we release that film? I think we did. The Jesus movie that we did together.
It's a sketch. You're being very generous by calling it a short film. It's a stupid sketch, which after I saw myself act, I quit acting then.
No, I mean, I feel like you've always been a person that is creative at heart, and you've been busting your ass, even though you claim that you haven't been busting your ass.
Yeah, I'm not going to get behind busting the ass. Chasing tail mostly.
But I think it's an interesting perspective to have, talking about moving out to a different city and sort of trying to find your footing and all that, because I think that, everybody has that dream, like, pack your bags, move to LA, and everything's going to be fucking honky-dory. But it's a lot of work, man. It's a long process to actually get to that point, right?
The listener can't hear it, but I've been nodding my head as Mike talks. Just agreeing.
So you've done a bunch of different, you've done a bunch of different PA gigs, right? Is that how you started when you came out?
Yeah, because that's what I was doing back in Boston. I was just PAing. And the difference between LA and New England production work is in New England, or Boston specifically, you can make a living off being a production assistant out there. Obviously, there's more competition out here. I was not making a living. I was also PAing for way too long. I think I was PAing for like 5 years. And I've only been fired from one job in my entire life, and it was probably my last PA gig. It was this e-entertainment show called Botched, about people who get shitty plastic surgery and then get more plastic surgery to fix the previous plastic surgery. I was working on that 5 days a week, every week, and I'm very good at my job, but I'm also not a bullshit artist like everybody else in LA. So after a while, they're like, "You seem like you don't want to be here." And I'm like, "Yeah." How could you tell? Was it all the reading material I would bring to work?
What did they have you doing on the show? What were you doing as a PA?
You know, I'm just driving around to all the different locations. I'm loading up the gear. I'm loading up the van. We had these minivans that we just pretty much lived out of. And just dealing with terrible people. It's reality television. Everybody involved with it is terrible. On screen and off screen. They're just vapid assholes. I bet they're listening right now.
I've always felt that way about. I tried to say no to almost all of that stuff. I've been offered a bunch of reality TV gigs, especially when I was a shooter. I was asked to shoot for a bunch of stuff, and I think a lot of people don't realize that when they watch the show, the reason why there's a lot of shitty stuff that happens on that show is that some of the people that are making those shows are kind of shitty.
And nobody says no. Or let me back up. So I was just taking any gig that I could, despite my complete disinterest and despite my expressing said disinterest. And it's when I started saying no, things got a little better. Hey, I got this gig. It's going to be everything that you hate. How about no? How about this isn't worth my happiness? Obviously, I've got a lot. I have been trying to do more audio work. I made sure that the air conditioning was off before this.
That's why you had me shut it off, yeah. That's totally why you had me shut it off.
I'm freezing.
You fucking LA people. So, what is I'm sure most listeners understand that are listening to the show what a PA is, but just in case you don't know, a PA is someone that basically comes on as an assistant. Sometimes they're an assistant for a specific department. Sometimes they're working for the producer. Sometimes the PAs are being shared through all these different departments. But it's kind of like an entry-level position that really, if you're trying to learn about making films, if you're trying to learn about TV, it's a great way to sort of figure out what everybody does and be able to examine what everybody does. But it's a really tough gig. I mean, what's a normal PA day like?
Oh man. Well, I treated today like it was a PA job because I brought breakfast, brought coffee, and yeah, you're gonna be doing a lot of coffee runs. They sort of understand that you don't know shit about gear, which is cool.
So when you do a gig, like how long are they're pretty long days, right?
Yeah, you're looking at 12 hours minimum. Don't count on going home to your girlfriend within 14 hours sometimes. You're going to be dealing with personality, especially if you're in reality. You're going to be working with some personalities, usually the unlikable ones that those shows seem to like. And
do you have any? I'm sure you don't have to say anything that you don't want to say, but do you have?
I'll name names.
Okay, good. Do you have any good stories?
That woman Abby something from Dance Moms is the worst human being I've ever met.
Why?
Put this on record, Variety. I'm working on Abby's Dance Studio, which was a spin-off of Dance Moms, about her getting together her own dance studios. Why not? Let's give this asshole more power. So we're shooting it. We're shooting, and then Easter's coming up. So we're not going to be shooting on Easter, but they still need me to drive her around on Easter. And for all those of you in New England where we get holiday pay and stuff, that doesn't happen in godless California. So I'm driving around the worst human being I've ever met on Easter to these like Easter parties that people have been kind enough to invite her soulless ass to. And I just remember I bring her and her assistant to some Easter party. And I can't even go in, which is fine. I don't want to see these people, but I have to sit in the SUV for hours and just wait for a phone call.
That's fucking terrible.
So her and her assistant go into this party, and Abby's got like a dozen makeup kits, my first makeup kits for girls, just to hand out because she's gonna befriend all these little girls that are there by just turning them into little horse. And so hours later, when I do get the call to pick them up, they're in there complaining, "Oh, that wasn't even a good petting zoo." This family had like rented out like a makeshift petting zoo. Like they don't have their own petting zoo. They just had one installed for the holiday, and these people were not impressed with it.
only in LA. So then you get these two, you go pick them up, and you drive them around
wherever they want.
So you're basically a fucking car service for them.
And again, because I'm a PA, I'm dressed as a PA. And Abby would vocalize her distaste for that. Really? I don't think she understood what PAs did. She thought that I was just her driver. Because I remember one night after a shoot, they actually got her like a professional driver. And this gentleman was dressed as such. And she made sure to comment to me, "Now he's dressed nice. How come you can't dress nice? What am I going to put on a fucking tux when I'm lugging around C-stands?" Like, you don't know what I do.
So it blows? Okay, so you weren't even fucking shooting that day, and they had you driving her around on the day off on Easter.
Because all of these productions, they'll just use you for whatever kind of errands that they need you to do. And it's easier to pay a production assistant minimum wage than it is to hire an actual driver. And so, like, I see these ads on Craigslist and stuff, too, where people, like, instead of renting a van, they'll look for a PA that has a minivan or an SUV or something.
Oh, my God.
And they'll just pay a minimum wage, and they'll use your vehicle. So these are little... shortcuts these shows will use.
Well, they're trying to change that now too, right? I think California just changed the payroll stuff. So like you can no longer 1099 folks that work on movies. They all have to become payroll at this point.
It's new to me.
Which is new. And then I thought they were trying to. What was the new thing that they were trying to turn over about PAs? They were trying to say that they could only work a certain amount of time. And so they're trying to protect them to a certain level because they have been abused for so fucking long.
I mean, everyone in production is abused and work way too long of hours.
And then when you're working on something that is one of these reality TV shows and you're literally in a room as like a cinematographer fucking shooting paint drying on a wall in some fucking home improvement show and you're there 15 hours.
You're using non-actors to sort of act. Sometimes running through the scene again. I've worked on shows where they reveal the winner of that reality competition and they need to shoot it from multiple angles, so they need that person to act surprised 3-4 more times.
I always get such a kick out of that whenever I'm watching them on TV and people are like, I can't believe that they're so excited. I'm like, there's 6 fucking camera angles there, guys.
And there's a producer telling them to amp up the excitement.
So what else? You got any other good stories? I love this shit.
Here's some fun ones. When I first moved out here, I didn't have audio equipment, so I was working some sound gigs for basically superhero porn, where there's no penetration, but it's like fight porn. Like, it's shot like it's a Mortal Kombat level, where like two ladies dressed like licensed characters, but it's unlicensed, so it's not Wonder Woman, it's Wonder Girl versus it's not Psylocke, it's Psychic Lady. I don't know.
But she's still wearing like purple and blue or whatever. Yeah.
And they fight each other, and they choke each other up, they tie each other up, and we would shoot like 2 or 3 of these fights a day.
Do they get naked? Is it like a nude thing?
Originally, no, but there was a slippery slope with this company where it was getting worse and worse every time. Eventually, there were tits coming out. I don't think I ever saw a single pair of naturals. Like, I never thought I'd be somebody that could be able to pick out real ones from fake ones, but after that job, I was like, oh, I know what fake ones look like now. I will say, as a fan of comic books and the like, it's really not canon to see Rogue fucking Superman. That wouldn't happen.
Was that a thing for you? When you were on set?
I had so much rage, so much nerd rage. Just like Deadpool would never rape anybody. I worked a gig where a guy in a Deadpool hockey mask simulated non-consensual sex with Wonder Woman. Again, there's no penetration, but eventually these fights just started getting worse and worse till there was simulated sex, but still pants stayed on.
Is it like the old Showtime late night shit where they start to have sex, but he's basically so high up on her body that he's just rubbing his junk over her belly button, or even on her chest at one point. And you're like, this is sex. And as a young kid, you're like, okay, so this is what sex is like.
Yeah, I was basically saying that as I stared at the ceiling and crossed my fingers that the boom wasn't in the shot.
How many of those productions did you end up doing?
Hundreds, and that's why my IMDb is just those.
I haven't looked.
My IMDb, like, I did not volunteer my name to be at these, but my IMDb is exclusively just these fucking vague superhero porns.
And did they get broadcast? Like, where did they go?
No, it's all not VOD, but like they would sell them exclusively on their website. Like, you'd buy an HD video for $60.
Yeah,
which is crazy. I don't know if that company's doing great because the boyfriend and girlfriend split and they were both owners.
Weird. What a weird. How'd you find them?
Craigslist.
Oh, Craigslist.
Yeah, don't go there.
The beauty of fucking Craigslist. I will say though that that's how Ian and I, my business partner, that's how we met, was through Craigslist.
Casual encounters? Or?
Yeah, it was. It's like, hey, and you like to make movies? Weird. Yeah, that's strange, man. What a cool thing. I keep thinking of like those bits from Orgasmo whenever you start talking about this. Was it like that on set?
Yeah. Although, I guess it would have been nice to see some real sex. Consensual, preferable. But beggars can't be choosers.
You have to send me one of these. I've never seen. How are the outfits?
I did have one of our friends buy one, and we all watched it at his place once. It's I'll describe it right now. So Wonder Woman fights a dominatrix who is also a mad scientist who creates a quote-unquote monster, which is just a guy in a Sasquatch outfit. Eventually, Sasquatch takes Wonder Woman and they tie her up, but she was faking the whole time, and she breaks out of those chains. And you'd wonder why she couldn't stop the assault earlier. A lot of story flaws, I'll tell you. As a writer, a lot of holes. Well, no pun intended.
So were you ever witness to what the story process was on these things?
No, you just show up, and like a lot of these actors, they're going through, like we would shoot it beginning to end a lot of times. There'd be 2 cameras, really wide, always real fun as a sound guy. And they would just roll through it like a bunch of different times. So I didn't see any scripts ahead of time, which is fine. I don't feel like I was missing out on anything.
So it's almost like a weird play at that point if they're just really. And they would just run through the whole thing, like no cuts?
There'd be cuts because the director would be like, I didn't like that performance. Let's do that one more time.
And they took it really fucking seriously?
Yeah, but he just churned through these like multiple ones a day. And so crazy. all the choreography is all there, and like these girls worked their ass off. I'll give them credit. Maybe the writing could have been improved. Imagine that. The writing not being good in sex videos, fetish videos.
Would you, if they had offered it to you, would you have written episodes?
Oh, I started writing one as an exercise. I never showed it to him, but I was writing a Deadpool one with like a lot of Deadpool jokes. And I was like, this is too much writing for this. He's not going to want, there's not enough fighting. There's not enough fucking in this. Too many quips and fourth wall breaking.
So that's an awesome experience to have under your belt, though, right? Because the stories on that alone are just priceless, man.
I mean, I've done stand-up stories based on what I just told you. I wish I could remember the bit. I've been doing stand-up for 9 years, and I'm still reading off a piece of paper every night because my memory is memento style. But I don't feel like getting tattooed on my arm used cars or like relationships or drinking's cool.
That's so. What do you do? How often do you do stand up? Do you do it often?
When I'm not in a dark hole, I'll try and get up at least once a week.
Nice.
Just churn out.
What do you do it around here?
Oh man, there's hundreds and hundreds of places to perform in LA. If it's I never go to the clubs because then you probably won't even get up if you try and sign up for those open mics. But I'm in dive bars just because that's where I'm most comfortable. In my experience, comedy where there's no alcohol is abysmal. If you think going to an open mic at a coffee shop is a good idea, you're wrong. Just, nobody working on their screenplay, over caffeinated, wants to hear your jokes about drinking and fucking.
There's a lot of, I have such a great respect for people that can get up and do that because it's, I mean, talk about being on the spotlight at that point and talk about, show us what you got, that whole thing. Has it got easier for you or is it still difficult to get up on stage?
What do you mean, like getting good spots or just like mentally?
Mentally,
it's way easier. Just as long as you're doing it, you're not even thinking about it anymore. You're just like, I'm gonna kill it tonight. And then 3 hours later, your name hasn't been called, and you're like, I'm going home tonight.
What's the coolest place that you've done stand up at this point?
Coolest place. My buddies Bronson Jones and Matt Devlin run the Venice Underground comedy show every Wednesday at the Venice Townhouse in Del Monte Speakeasy. It's a fucking packed show every single goddamn week. it feels like a New York comedy club because the audience is unforgiving.
Really?
They can be brutal, and that's why Matt Devlin's great, because he'll just throw it back at him 10 times harder. Where I've watched comedians follow Matt Devlin and say, wow, I've never seen a comedian heckle the audience that hard before. So that's it can be a brutal show, but the times I've done well there, it's more rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a solid show. Everybody listening, check out Venice Townhouse.
Yeah,
every Wednesday.
Plug it out, man.
Right
Plug it
before
out.
the burlesque show.
So that's your primary thing right now, right? That's the thing that gives you joy, is writing jokes and sort of observing that kind of thing. And
yeah, because as a comic, you need validation all the time.
Okay.
I just wrote this thing. I need to get a laugh off it real quick. And these likes on Twitter, it's not enough. I'm seeing a chick and I compliment her all the time, and I don't hear it back enough from her. The other day, I was just like blatantly like, I'm a comic. I need validation every fucking 5 seconds. Please, give me something.
that's so cool, man. I mean, like I said, man, I'm proud of you. You're out here fucking still doing that shit, man, and still kicking, dude.
I like the way your angle about it, because I feel like I'm just out here just wasting away.
Just keep working, man. Just keep working, keep writing. I mean, with everything, I've talked about this in other episodes of the show. It's these fucking waves, man, where like you're at your peak. In our business, you're at your peak at a point. You're like, oh my God, everything's so amazing and the future's so fucking bright and all this shit's coming at me. And then it's brutal because you just fucking crash right after that. And then every time you crash, it feels like the like the bottom of that swell is so fucking deep, and then you have to crawl your way out of it.
Fortunately, I haven't had too many peaks, so it's just flatlining.
Come on, I don't buy that. So what are you working? So you said you're going to be doing a film, right? You're going to write
oh, Jesus, we're announcing it now. Now I have to do it.
Yeah, that's right. I'm putting you on the fucking spot, dude.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, I'm going to try and do something this summer. Oh, I won't give too many details right now to my audience that's listening. Don't want to get their hopes up too much. Maybe.
Both you and I are huge comic book nerds at this point, right?
Yeah.
We could talk about comics a little bit. What are you reading right now?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I feel like I should call my shop right now and be like, what's on my poll again?
You still have a poll. Holy shit.
Oh, I'm adding to it all the time. And every once in a while I'll be like, maybe I don't like this one so much.
Holy shit. All right, so for listeners that didn't grow up comic book nerds like us, what is a poll?
A poll is when you go to your favorite comic book shop and you let them know, okay, I can't miss an issue of Jessica Jones. I need make sure when that comes in, you put one aside for me. And so I've got maybe, I want to say 20 the last time I looked at their index card that they have for me. Not as much Marvel and DC as I'm loving all the Image sci-fi stuff.
Image has been the only thing that's kept me in books lately. Seriously. Because, Marvel stuff sucks. Straight up.
I'm not reading any good Marvel right now. Even the last... Alias was my favorite comic book, and the new Jessica Jones run was garbage, I guess to accommodate the TV show.
Yeah, dude. I mean, the only thing that I was reading for a while was the Old Man Logan stuff that they were doing, but even that just...
The rebooted stuff.
Just nothing happens in it. And you're just like... You're trying really hard to... Like, it seems like whenever a publisher wants to get dark, they're like, let's make Sin City. Like, some version of fucking Sin City and Marv. And you're like, God, like, I've always loved Wolverine. I've always loved that character. And the podcast is really fucking good. Have you listened to the podcast?
I haven't, but I know about it.
It's fucking great.
Okay.
It's like, how many episodes? It's like 13 episodes, and they're 30 minutes a pop. And it's you listen to it and you go, this is a fucking Netflix series. Like, it's really good. And the actors are really good. The stories are really good. The delivery device that they use, the sort of investigative fucking point of view, because you have to, like, describe a lot of shit because it's a podcast. And they do some really cool techniques, like sound techniques, where they'll play a recording and you'll hear a recording like it sounds like it's coming off of an iPhone. But as you get into that recording and as you get interested in what's being said, they transition into the actual space. And so just through audio, you see that transition. And as you're picturing it in your mind, you actually cut to that spot. It's really cool, dude. So a lot of really cool techniques. If you guys haven't heard it, it's like The Long Goodbye, I think. It's fantastic. It's on Stitcher or something like that, and you have to sign up for the premium account, but they give you like a week's free fucking account. And I did it when I flew out, and I listened to like 6 or 7 episodes on the flight out here. I'm going to do the rest of them and cancel my fucking account because I'm not going to pay for Stitcher. But, you know.
So everybody shut this podcast off right now and go check out the Wolverine podcast.
It's wonderful. It's really good, man. It's really good. But I got on a fucking tirade there. The Wolverine I've always loved. I always loved his character. And then, you know, for years one of the things I always loved about Marvel is that they just have this whole back catalog and they're actually building this like long running fucking character story with these guys. And that whole point where the movie shit was going weird and they had trouble with Fox and everything else and they started to fucking just kill people off.
It's really interesting how they sort of got rid of the Fantastic Four because those movies are so notoriously bad that even Marvel Comics was like, we don't even want these characters around us anymore. Get them out of here.
But the death of them was so... It was like they got in a spaceship and flew off somewhere.
It was vague. I think it was during that Marvel event, they sort of became gods, if I'm correct. Like the Thing became some like planet. It was like Battle Planet, and then Human Torch was like some sort of sun. It was really vague. I can't remember the name of that writer, but he writes a lot of convoluted stuff.
I never really gave a shit about the Fantastic Four that much anyways, but I just got annoyed being someone that has been a constant comic book fan and someone that has been following these books since I was a kid, you know, like 13 years old, and religiously, you know, having a poll and just going, every fucking issue you put out, I'm buying, whether or not it's good or not, and I'm going to read all these issues. And Marvel just hit a point where they're like, we just do not care about the long-running fans. We just don't.
I was a Marvel fan my entire life, but I think I might be reading more DC these days. Tom King has been writing some fucking awesome stuff for Batman and Miracle Man.
Miracle Man, weird.
Miracle Man is fucking fantastic. The art is great. And Tom King makes me realize like how much of a romantic I am because he writes a great relationship. Like Miracle Man and his wife, Big Bertha or whatever her name is, she's taller than him and their chemistry is so fucking real. And also his relationship that he writes for Batman and Catwoman, who are about to get married this summer. I'm very excited about it. It is also so real, and it works for Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle. You're like, I understand why these two people work.
I have to pick them up, man. I have fallen off the grid with all of it lately.
Tom King writing some great romance comic books right now. I'm all about it.
What a romantic. But no, man, like I love comics, and you are one of my few friends that I think loves them, if not more than I do, which is cool.
It's weird because like I wouldn't even consider myself a nerd. I'm not really interested in geek culture. I've never been to Comic-Con. I have no interest in ever going. Yeah. But I love to read my stories. Yeah. I just want to write and read, and I don't want to dress up like anybody.
Well, it's two different types of fans at that point. Yeah. You know? Like, for me, and I'm sure for you, it was a world that I could disappear into and really have... You know what, too? Here's a funny story. One of the issues, I think one of the main reasons why I really got into comic books is that I was grounded for most of my childhood. So my grades were god fucking awful. Like I would come home with a report card and my mother would be like, no fucking TV for the year. until you fix your fucking grades. And of course, my grades didn't go up. So there was a good 5 years that I had no TV rights. So I missed a lot of the pop culture TV shit that people get nerdy about at my age. And I remember graduating from high school and just being like, cool. And I actually sat down for like 3 weeks and I watched like all the Alien movies. I watched like all that stuff like 2 weeks after graduating from high school because I was grounded from TV for that fucking long.
I gotta catch up.
Yeah, seriously. So I had comics, man. So my mother would be like, okay, everybody family TV time, go upstairs. And I would go upstairs and read my comic books. So I think that's probably why I have such a comfort for them, is that they were my TV growing up. Weird story, right?
When I got grounded, I would basically get kicked out of the house because I just play video games all day. That's all I was ever interested in. So I never liked to exercise, still don't. I would just throw rocks at a tree in the backyard. To this day, I know that tree is still like scarred up because of me. Because I'm just angry that I'm not playing Tiny Toons on Nintendo.
Yeah, it's funny, man. It's a funny thing. I think me being grounded has sort of shaped how I process entertainment these days, and I'm really not as addicted. I think, which strangely, my parents actually did me a justice. I think by grounding me from all that stuff, which is weird because now everybody's so fucking like binging and addicted to the shit. You know,
and also nostalgia addicted. That's why we keep rebooting every single fucking franchise. Like, I feel like they're going to be making Ninja Turtles TV shows and movies after we're both dead.
Right. And then the weird thing is that you have these cycles that happen with fashion and with entertainment where it's like, okay, remember the 70s come back. But when they bring it back, it has its current flair. So like 15, 20 years from now, and they start to reboot the reboot of the 70s, then what the fuck is that? You know what I mean?
There's going to be kids growing up, like, and there's going to be a new Charlie and the Chocolate Factory reboot, and they're going to be like, it's not as good as the Johnny Depp one.
Which is not as good as the original one, which is not as good as the book. It's like you go all the way back and go like, what the fuck is this at this point? It's just ancestral. It's just like, stop breeding. Stop sleeping with your sister, man. Like, write some new stories, you know? New stories are really tough, man. And, you know, being in the pitch process all week, I can see firsthand how this stuff happens. I can see how an idea that you have, and you go into a room with an original thought, like a really original idea. And original ideas are scary for people because there's no point of reference. Yeah,
because even when you're pitching, you need to be like, okay, so this movie, it's like Kick-Ass meets this. And it's like something you've heard before. Meets something else that you've heard before.
Exactly. And it's the fastest way to take a very sort of low attention span listener and catch them up to where you are. It's like, picture The Exorcist. And they go, and in their head, it's like, and all that runs. And they go, we're in it. You know what I mean? And you're like, now it has nothing to do with that movie.
It's a lighthearted comedy.
Yeah. It's such a weird game as a creative in this business because it is money and creativity. Like, you need them both. Like, and I think that there is something to be said about actually having to answer to money and actually having your stuff reworked and reprocessed, because I've seen stuff that is just done by creatives. I think a lot of stuff that comes out on Netflix is just run by the creatives, and the end, like the third acts are fucking weird and it just doesn't flow right. And you're like, man, there should have been a couple more meetings in a room where people were kind of pushing back on you and making you think that out a bit more.
Yeah, it's definitely good to get other sets of eyes on scripts and the like.
I mean, for me, I would rather have that. I would rather be sitting, because I have to answer for the money. Like, these things are so fucking expensive to make. And so you have to, at some point, answer to the person that is giving you that loot. And it's not like you fucking meet like Santa Claus. He shows up and he's like, congratulations, you're here. Here's the lottery. Here's fucking, $15 million. No questions asked. You know what I mean?
Well, considering plenty of Netflix TV shows, it sounds like it's that. They just fucking greenlight everything.
Well, the shit's changing on them really quick. Like, it's getting more difficult to get your stuff greenlit. they're catching up to the system. I think they're going to be a part of the system at this point. So you got to be responsible. And for me, like if I, ask you, the listener, for money, or if I go on Kickstarter and ask for loot, I always try to pay out. I always ask myself, okay, why is this person going to give me this? And then what are they expecting? And then what can I do in my best? How can I put my best foot forward to make sure that they get what their money's worth? And what I try to do is, because I'm literally from the East Coast, so I have these ideas, and me and Will sort of put these ideas together from inspirations that are completely outside of this machine. And then you come into this machine and people look at it and they go, this is exciting, but it's dangerously exciting. And we don't know exactly how to fucking sell this the way you guys are doing it. So if you just fix this and this and this and this and this, and then you want to make sure that you're getting into the rooms, but the next thing you know, you look at your piece and you're like, if we do everything that they say to do, then this is going to be like every fucking other thing that is coming out right now.
They want something safe, and to them, movies are math problems. If we set up this equation, we're going to get this answer. So they're just looking at numbers. I mean, I write comedy. I'm on Twitter. If anybody ever gave a shit about me, they're going to see how many followers I have. And then I'm going to argue with them. Look at the ratio. I don't even follow that many people. It's a good ratio.
That's true. That's very true, man. It's very true. And we all are creating content that is just being tossed into the sea of fucking content that is out there. So how do you stand up? Like, how do you pull yourself above everybody else? And the numbers for that shit is all fucking fake anyways. I always like turn my head when I see like a 16-year-old with like, 1 million, 2 million followers. It's like, okay, what service did your mom buy? Like there was like an army of fucking like India tech people just fucking liking and unliking people for you to get that shit.
I've seen those walls that they have in, I don't know if it's Russia or India, where there's 1,000 cell phones like taped to a wall, and they have all these different social media accounts just getting numbers up for people.
I've never seen that. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's a real thing. And it's a scary thing because, again, these companies only care about the numbers. And I'm not playing the Twitter game of following people in hopes that they follow me.
I always tell my sponsors the same thing, where it's like my followers, I don't have, 100,000 followers, but my followers they actually interact. And like I talk to folks and they talk back to me. So they're real people, and that's important, I think, in the long run. But fuck, man.
That said, you can follow me at Brett, UGHBRETT on Twitter.
Go follow him,
Hot
guys.
content every day.
Hot content.
I'm a hashtag content creator, hashtag influencer. Oh, I should tell you this story. So I'm in line to go to the Deadpool 2 pop-up bar. They've redone one of my favorite bars to be like the bar in Deadpool. It's sponsored by Mike's Hard Lemonade. And the line is around the block. And the people running this event are walking up and down the line going, do we have any social media influencers here?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Like that. That was a real sentence that I heard out of somebody's mouth.
Did you just slowly raise your hand?
I've got 50 friends on Instagram. Let me help you guys out with this. If I had the balls, I would have volunteered, but I'm sure they just wanted like those types of YouTube personalities to promote the event.
It's a big thing, dude. In the fashion world, it's huge. Like when you're at a runway show, there was like whoever sits in like the front 2 rows of a runway show are like the influencers.
That fucking label makes me laugh.
Oh, dude.
And the idea that anybody would label themselves as that is hilarious to me. Like the fucking ego on you.
Yeah.
Like, what else do? You influence people. But like, what do you... Because you take good selfies? Is that what that is?
You bought like 200,000 fake fucking followers online somewhere, and it's a bullshit. It's a scam. Like it feels like a fucking scam where it's just like, oh my god, you, and then they actually start to get legit followers at some point because people are like, why the fuck do these people have 200,000 fucking people following them? And then you look at these accounts and it's literally just somebody opening a box or fucking just smiling into the camera and now using those fucking filters where they start to look like alien. They have like the oval eye filters and shit like that. Like, have you seen these things?
Oh, like the Snapchat, like cute dog.
Yeah,
filters?
But the beautification ones now.
Oh, they make your eyes bigger.
And they change your complexion and they change all of that shit. It's fucking creepy.
That's a swipe left on Tinder for me. Any sort of filter like that.
Thank God that they still put like some weird little graphics over it because most people look at it and go, oh my God, she's really cute. And you're like,
no, she's got big old alien eyes.
Yeah, dude. In real life, she's got like three noses and the filter just wiped out 2 of them. It's weird, dude. It's weird. Social media stuff is very strange.
I guess the lesson is fake it till you make it, guys.
That's always been the lesson, man.
I'm not supposed to tell people that I'm a delivery driver. I tell them I'm a writer and performer. Fuck off. It's 2018. We all have to have 3 jobs just to pay rent.
Dude, I mean, you have to make money. And if you're fortunate enough to make money doing what it is that you love in this business, then you're lucky. You're very lucky. But just because you don't make money doing what it is that you love doesn't say that you're not good at what you fucking do. And you should still feel, if you're able to write, if you're able to put something creative down on a page, and some people see it, or just for yourself, you should be fucking happy that you can do that, period. You know, and if that means that you got to go work a fucking 9-to-5 job somewhere and make enough money so that you can sit in your apartment and write, then that's part of the process for you. Like, that's part of what you're supposed to do. I fucking do commercial work and shit. It's the same fucking thing, you know? You know, when you go in and doing corporate jobs, it's, you know, you have to beg to go have that job, and then you win that gig, and then sometimes you're working with really creative people, but sometimes you're on gigs where it feels like you're fucking just, you know, dropping people off and driving people around. But it's all steps, man. I just do that shit to be able to make movies. I put some money in my bank account, and then I blow all my money on a fucking movie, and then I blow it on a trip out here to LA for a week or 2 weeks, and then hopefully someone buys the fucking thing. Now I'm going to go back home and try to pay off my credit card and go back into the fucking system again, you know?
That said, I do feel like the next generation Scorsese is going to be driving for Uber. Like, during the same weekend of his big premiere.
Yeah, exactly.
The economy's shit.
It is, man. It's a tough place to be right now. It is. But, you know, I don't want to end it on a downer. I don't want to end the show on a downer, man.
But you also can, because not everything works out. Sometimes all the heroes die at the end. Thanos snapped his fucking fingers.
So thanks for being on the show, Brett. Is there anything that you want to plug? Is there anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, you guys can see me Friday at the Slipper Clutch. I'll be there from 9 p.m. to closing. I'm not performing. I'll just be drinking. Downtown LA. We'll see you there.
So I hope you guys liked this episode. It was a lot of fun hanging out with my buddy Brett. I haven't seen him in a few years, and he's a really fun guy to be around. And he has had these crazy PA experiences that you know, people write about. So I really was happy that he came on board and was able to share some of those stories with us. I got to do some of the reads here for the sponsors that I didn't get to while we were doing the show. So bear with me. First sponsor for this episode is our good buddies at Puget Systems. If you are a video editor, if you're a sound engineer, or if you're somebody who just wants to buy a new computer, and you're tired of paying the buku bucks for an unpackaging, basically. PCs are great, man. PCs do the job fantastically, and they're a lot less expensive than Apple products, and you can actually get them faster, and you can customize these things to be like really powerful machines. So I ended up jumping onto the PC bandwagon when I wanted to make my computer do what I needed it to do. I wanted to be able to upgrade my machine. I didn't want to become a slave to whatever sort of hardware outdating that the company decided to do. So I did the research and I found this company called Puget Systems, and they have a great website. You can head on over there and you can actually punch in the software that you use and that you edit with, and they will suggest a hardware configuration, but you can get even more specific about what you do. You can actually talk to one of the customer support people, and they will help build you a machine. They're a smaller company on the West Coast, but because they are that size, you actually get a real person on the phone. Like when you call someone for tech support, you're not waiting for days to get answers. And the machines they build are lightning fast. I have two 4K edit systems back at McFarlane and Pecci that we have cut over 2 years worth of content on at this point. I love these guys. They've been a constant support for my art and for the show. And so if you want to become part of their family, and if you want to buy and build a new PC, head on over to PugetSystems.com. Next up are my good buddies over at Rule Boston Camera. If you are a filmmaker or a freelancer, you're working on TV or video or even audio, and you need to rent some equipment, look up Rule Boston Camera. I love having relationships with rental houses. I don't believe in buying the latest trends. I don't believe in sinking hundreds and thousands of dollars in equipment that will be outdated within like a year. So thank God for rental houses, because they have the newest and latest, greatest stuff. They beta test everything. You can walk into one of these places like Rule Boston Camera and actually get trained on the latest stuff, and actually go in there and play with the toys. And that way, when you have a client ask you, what do you think we should shoot this on? You have options. You're not just trying to sell them on whatever you're indebted to. So if you're on the East Coast and you're looking for really great camera equipment and you're looking to hang out with a really good team of people, check out Rule Boston Camera. Also sponsoring this episode is my company, McFarlane and Pecci. If you want to see the latest and greatest stuff that both Ian and I have been working on, head on over to McFarlaneandPecci.com. You can also follow McFarlane and Pecci at Instagram. Ian's movie, The Godfather's a Hardcore, has been crushing it. He has been traveling all over the country doing the festival circuit, and we hopefully will have some great news coming out soon about a larger release for that. You can also see some of our latest stuff that we're doing for Bose. I think it's coming out in the next couple weeks. Really beautiful shot stuff for the Better Sound Sessions series that we've been doing, which is super cool. So yeah, follow us over at McFarlaneandPecci.com. We are for hire there, so if you want to bring us on board to shoot a commercial or do something like that, that is the best place to reach myself and Ian. So that's it. I think that's all the reads. Like I said, I'm on the West Coast this week. It's been a really fun trip out here hanging out with my buddy Will Simmons, who is writing the 12 Kilometers feature film, and he's also writing the new project that we're doing together. And we've been going around doing a bunch of pitch meetings all week, which has been a really exciting experience. I actually got to go hang out on Paramount Pictures lot, which is so cool, man. Last time I came out, I got to hang out on the Warner Brothers lot, which was an amazing experience. It's such a, one of the best things about LA is that this is the home of this stuff. This is the home of this industry. And you really feel it if you ever have an opportunity to walk around on one of the back lots. And man, I love the fake fucking streets and shit that they still have up. You know, like there's a whole New York street up in the lot at Paramount that I sort of snuck around on. and you swear that you're walking through Manhattan, and on the backside of these like false buildings are just plywood and beams holding them up. So it's super fucking cool, man. It's really cool. There's a lot of really wonderful magic that is out here in LA when it comes to the movie industry. So it's been a lot of fun, and hopefully I'll be able to talk about these things soon. I'm sitting through the very long process of getting all this stuff greenlit, but things are looking good, guys. So I'm gonna do a few more episodes this month. I've got one that I'm really excited about. Hopefully it will be the next episode, and we'll get it into play. I'm trying to sit down with a celebrity chef and a good friend of ours, and I really want to talk about the process of opening up restaurants and really draw the parallels between that and filmmaking, because there's a lot of similarities there. So stick around and continue to listen. And I'm feeling a little dry right now, a little tired because it's been an intense week. But I really appreciate you guys, and thanks a lot.